Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Micah hanging out here inside the Seacrest studio on this awesome day. And you know what makes it even better is I have my friend Maya here. And Maya, what makes today a particularly epic and awesome Monday?
Because Nathaniel J. Potvin is calling in.
Nathaniel J. Potvin, that's awesome. Well, thank you very much for calling in. And Maya, why don't you take it away?
Well, first of all, just thank you so much for calling in. I'm so excited to be talking to you.
Of course, I wouldn't miss it.
So my first question for you is who or what inspired you to start acting?
Oh, that's a good question. So I feel like when I was a kid, I was a very dramatic kid. I mean, I feel like a lot of people say that they're children, and that's what children do sometimes. Sometimes they're just over dramatic about certain things, but I just found a love for movies. You know, my parents both working in the film industry as post-production audio engineers. And because of that, I was around movies all the time. I was watching movies. My dad would take me to go, print master films, which means that we would go and finalize the whole sound of a film before it was even out. And I just remember thinking how cool that was. And I remember just almost idolizing and, admiring all these different actors up on screen. And a phrase that was really common in my life from my parents was like, you could do that. They would let me know, yeah, it's possible. Anybody could do that. You could do that. And I remember thinking about that and digesting those words and being like, yeah, I could do that. And so I was really inspired by Corbin Bleu, honestly, from High School Musical, because it helps to see representation of yourself up on screen and seeing, a young African-American guy, dance his heart out and, sing in a musical on Disney Channel was something that was really nice. And I was like, I can do that. And so I was pursuing extracurricular activities in dance already and singing. And then I kind of just translated that over into a film medium, which is, I guess, where we are now.
Oh, cool. So you played Ryan in one of my favorite shows, Alexa and Katie. What was the best part of being on the show?
The best part of being on that show for me was the amount of talent and fun the cast was having. And even the creative freedoms that they would let their actors have on set. A lot of my stuff in that show, honestly, I did was really improvisation. I would, and that's actually how I got the job. When I was auditioning, I saw this character. He was really quirky. He was really fun. He loves theater. And, when I think about that, I thought about, kids I used to go to high school with, and even kids I currently know who are just, interesting people, and they just love theater, and they're just in their own world, and they just engage with people differently than others. And I would think about that, and I would kind of channel that character work, I guess, and improv some funny stuff just on the side. And they really, really loved that. And I remember being at table reads with everybody. And I mean, sometimes I wouldn't have a lot of lines, which is okay. I mean, that's just the way the world works. And I would take that and I was like, okay, how can I make my 5 lines really funny? How can I make everyone burst out in laughter? And it was just one of those things where I would have to improv certain things at the table read. And I'm like, it's just for fun. And they would try and work it into the show. So I felt recognized there, because I would just try to be enjoyable and have a great time and be funny. And they really recognized that as well. And they would try to implement it in the show. And I really enjoyed that. And obviously the people there are just so talented, so funny, all of them, the whole cast. I enjoyed working with them a lot because they would give me a lot of stuff to work off of. Isabel is absolutely fantastic with that. She would she would give me so many different line readings, and I would take that and just run with it. And then we would just riff off of each other, having a great time. Those days where we have rehearsals was just super enjoyable.
Cool. So did you have a favorite episode to film?
Favorite episode to film. My favorite episode, I don't know the actual episode number, but I remember it was the New Year's Eve episode where we're at the coffee shop and the coffee machine breaks. Because again, in the rehearsals, we had an amazing director, Kelly Park. She was so enjoyable to work with, and she was so fun to work with. She was a funny lady, and she would just let us do anything within the confines of the story. And that whole scene where the coffee machine breaks, if you really look, we're kind of laughing during the take. Like, we couldn't help ourselves because we were just being ridiculously funny and having so much fun that we couldn't help but kind of laugh at ourselves because we were just being so boisterous, I guess. But Isabel and I just had a really, really fun time doing that and just acting out the whole scenario of everything going wrong all at the same time. We had a really good time shooting that. That episode is funny.
Oh, cool. Yeah. I love that episode.
I'm glad.
Yeah, I rewatch it all. I rewatch like the whole series just all the time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So especially when like I'm really stressed.
Oh, that's good. I honestly, that show is so comforting. I mean, I can only imagine, but I know it's I know it's very comforting for me. It makes me it's got a kind of bittersweetness to it as well, because the whole arc of the whole show, right? We see these kids in freshman year, and then they grow up, and then we see them grow into, seniors and go off to college. And it's just, it tugs at my heartstrings too.
Yeah. Yeah. My sister, I call my sister Katie, because like, you're my Katie.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah, and I always watch it with my family, and so Jennifer always reminded my sister and I of our mom.
Oh, that's sweet.
So our mom would just be watching it too, just cracking up, because she'd be like, "That's totally something I would do."
Right. It's enjoyable for the whole family. And I thought they did a really good job with that as well, just to capture these two, young ladies' families and just have a really enjoyable time with it as well. So centered around this really, untalked about concept,
Yeah. So you're also in the movie, The Prom, which I love. I watch it all the time. So how did that opportunity come about?
That opportunity was something that I really wasn't looking for at the time. I was coming off of stuff like Alexa and Katie and another show I had done with Facebook Watch. And I come from a very musical background, and like, I was a dancer and I was a singer, and then I started acting. And then because of that, I kind of started moving away from performing like Broadway and doing singing and dancing. And this audition came up, and I was just so intrigued by the fact that what the story was and how they were just taking a Broadway play and then translating it into a film. And I was like, yeah, I guess I'll give it a shot, because I wasn't very confident in my singing at that point in my life. And I was auditioning, and it was one of those moments. It was a really interesting time in my life. So many different personal stuff had come up, and I don't know if I was ready for it, but, I gave it my all. And it was one of those things where I kind of just let myself be stripped away and showed who I really felt like I could be, and, performed my truest self, I guess. And it was such a enjoyable auditioning process, I will say, because sometimes it's not very fun. Sometimes it's super nerve-wracking and you're not having a good time, or the casting director's not very nice, or the kids you're in the casting room are just not very friendly. And I just remember when I was singing, I felt so free and so open and just ready to engage with anybody who, creatively. And finally we do the first audition. I was singing and I get a call back, and I show them dancing, and I get a call back again. And finally we're at this final round, and all these other kids there are in the audition room and process. And there's this unspoken little competition because, everyone's trying to get that same job. And it was, something that's not super, friendly amongst others, but I just remember going in there and enjoying it for what it was. I got to be in front of these amazing people and audition with these amazing actors and actresses as well. And I just remember having such a really wonderful time. And obviously that was something that was translated over to the casting director and our choreographer, because I ended up getting it, I was super fortunate to do. And it's just, to me, is such a sweet thing, because like I said, I was in a weird place in my life, and it was something that was really encouraging and gratifying for me. So yeah, it was such a great job, and it's such an amazing story. Like, I see your Broadway little sign back there in your room, and it was one of those things where it reinvigorated my love for performing on stage and performing, song and dance. I'm so much more confident in myself as a performer now, because I went through these trials, I guess, and almost I just came out on the other side, just like having a new love for Broadway.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Yeah. Quarantine has given me like a chance to discover all these new Broadway soundtracks. I mean, not new, but new to me. So, and then I just like became completely obsessed with Broadway. So
it's one of those things where it's definitely a universe that not a lot of people, I mean, there is a huge fan base of Broadway, don't get me wrong, but there's a lot of people who I know would enjoy Broadway, or their whole extent of their knowledge of Broadway is like ends at Hamilton. And it's like, yeah, I only know Hamilton the musical, and they would love so much. There's so much more enjoyable stuff within that world. And I'm in the same boat as you. I'm like finding new soundtracks that I'm listening to. And I have friends who are like, have you heard this one yet? Or have you seen this show? And I'm like, no, you send them to me. I love that. And so, yeah, I feel like we'll probably talk later about soundtracks you're in love with right now.
Yeah, I did have a question about that. But,
perfect.
First, do you have any fun stories from filming the prom?
Yeah. There's a lot. So the pack I ran with while we were shooting a lot was the other three kids, myself, Nico Greetham, Logan Riley, and Sophia Deller, who all of us were playing, those mean kids, but, we had most of our scenes together and most of our lines together. So we just hung out a lot together. And because it is such a grand movie and there's so much going on, there's so many different storylines or different characters, we had, a substantial amount of downtime. And we shot over at the Paramount lot, which is notoriously big, and it's got all these sets on it. And we took a lot of our downtime, and we noticed actually while we were on the set that there's a lot of golf carts. There's a lot of really interesting little carts that, people would drive because it's a big set. They would have to get to one end to the other. So we were like, I guess, why don't we, borrow a golf cart for the day and just drive the whole. So all four of us got in this cart and we explored all of Paramount, the whole Paramount lot, and had the best time ever. Even though it was just like we had nothing else to do, we would just go around from like stage to stage or in between. Like there's little areas that people don't really recognize, but they know from like their favorite television show or they know from their favorite movie, but it's just on the Paramount lot. And so we had such a great time learning the history of Paramount.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, it was fun.
So do you have a favorite Broadway soundtrack?
Do I have a favorite? It's a hard one. See, I set myself up for this because I was like, we'll talk about it. And I'm like, man, now there's like so many. I don't know which one I love the most.
Yeah, I have to ask him about this now. So
Right. I do definitely love Dear Evan Hansen a lot. But my favorite of all time was probably like one of the first shows I've ever seen, which was The Producers. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
No.
So I think it was Mel Brooks who made that production, and it's just hysterical. It's a very funny musical about these two producers who end up making a musical that flops, and it's just hysterical.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I know there were all these like different soundtracks I had listened to before, but the first one I heard at the beginning of quarantine that like really made me obsessed with Broadway was Spring Awakening.
Oh yeah, I've heard of it. I haven't listened to that one yet, but I've heard of it.
Yeah, because I was obsessed with this show called Rise, where they had. And in that show, they put on a production of Spring Awakening. And so I had heard all like their versions of the songs, but I had never heard the original. And then I found the original soundtrack, and that was March last year, and I haven't stopped listening to it. So
that's that's good investigating on your part, honestly, because like a lot of people would have stopped, been like, all right, well, I guess I can't. But you found it. That's pretty good on you.
Thank you. Have you had a favorite project or character that you've played?
Right now, again, because of the love that I have for Broadway again and singing and performing, I think my favorite job would be the Prom. I just had a really good time on that set. Everyone was so sweet. And again, I got to meet these amazing actors and actresses where I learned so much. So the Prom would be my favorite, but my favorite character, I don't know. That's a hard one. I love, I've grown to love all these characters that I've played only because they're all so special to me. If I had to pick one, I guess maybe my character from Mech X4, who was also named Ryan, weirdly enough, he was a superhero. And when I was a kid, like playing a superhero was like it for me. So I had a good time doing that. Like having superpowers is so cool for any little kid. And I got to fulfill that wish early on in my life. And I was like very fortunate to be able to do that. And it was just a cool character to, be able to control technology with his mind. So I think that's a really fun one.
Oh, cool. So do you have any upcoming projects?
Upcoming projects, yeah. I mean, I'm definitely out there working and auditioning to look for more stuff. And, I got stuff in the works coming. I've actually been dabbling in, pursuing my own creative endeavors with directing, and which is really fun. I just actually took this weekend and directed a music video for a friend. So just stuff like that. I mean, I've been trying to work on getting behind the camera as well as in front of it. So directing is something I've been pursuing and really interested in lately.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So if you could have any song playing to announce your entrance into a room, what song would it be?
Oh, that's a good one. What song would that be? I'm going to look at my music library. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay, because you know what? There's just so much going through my head right now. Let's see. Oh, you know what? It'd have to be something Stevie Wonder for sure. Let me see. I would say I'm going to say Sir Duke by Stevie Wonder.
Oh, cool.
That's a classic.
Yeah. Yeah. So, what is your biggest pet peeve?
Biggest pet peeve? I don't know. I don't get annoyed that easily or peeved, I guess, that easily with people. You know, I try to be a very accepting person because, like, you don't know what's going on over with somebody else. So try not to get so angry. But I mean, I feel like I definitely have. Ooh, this one gets me angry, Maya. My biggest pet peeve is people who text during movies or they're on their phone during a movie.
Yeah.
Or show. It is not, especially when I'm showing somebody like a movie or a show that I think they would enjoy and then they go on their phone. It's like a blatant like dig at me. Like I was like, I wanted to show you this out of the kindness of my heart, and now you're on your phone. That's just
Yeah. Yeah. So, is there a show that you're currently binge watching?
My girlfriend and I just watched Bridgerton, and I'm not ashamed. I loved it. It was very fun. What else did we watch? We watched. I guess. Oh, it's a great show on. I mean, I'm saying these are all Netflix projects, but whatever. Amazing French show with Omar Sy named Lupin, which he plays this really famous French character that I had no idea. Like he's like the French Sherlock Holmes almost. And he plays this amazing character and it's just really fun to watch. And we can't wait for season 2 on that show as well.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to watch that, but then I found out that it was subtitled and like I can't keep up with the subtitles. So so then I have no idea what's going on because like I missed something they say or
Right. I love subtitles, but I think they might have an option on Netflix to dub it in English.
Oh, yeah, we actually okay, so also this like my family and I we don't like things that are dubbed because
the lips aren't matching. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And so our mom found out that you could change it and just have subtitles. So yeah.
It's a good show. If you guys are willing, check it out. It's very fun. I had a good time watching it.
Oh, cool. Yeah. So is there a line from a book, movie, or a song that's always stuck with you and inspires you?
Yeah, of course. That's a good question. I'm sure there is. I'm trying to think. I might be overthinking it. It might be, like, honestly, one line that, I mean, is just so famous and so inspiring for everyone, I think, is from Finding Nemo. Dory says, just keep on swimming, right?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's the one that resonates always.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, just keep on swimming.
Yeah. So when you're having a bad day, what do you do to like make yourself feel better?
Bad days. Well, I mean, for me, it's usually getting outside, you know, even though it's a little hard to do that now. I mean, I still find time to like go for a walk. You know, you got to wear a mask though, but that's great, you know, trying to keep safe. But going outside, going for a walk, um, yeah, I just did absorbing nature. You know, it's so beautiful out usually wherever people are. I mean, some people might be going through things where, or in there's certain areas where it might not be deemed uh, beautiful in some sense, but getting outside is always helpful. I know that for a fact.
Yeah. Yeah, I know when like my sister or I am having a bad day, our mom always makes us get outside because then we feel better after we're outside.
Just getting some fresh air, absorbing the sunlight, you know, all these different things are just super helpful and healthy for the body. You know, it's just, you know, great stuff for your mind as well.
Yeah. Yeah. So what personality trait has gotten you in the most trouble?
What personality trait has got me in the most trouble? I mean, obviously mischievous, of course. Mischief always gets me into trouble, and I find great love in that. I'm the youngest brother. I'm the youngest of three. I have two older brothers, so it was in my DNA to, you know, just annoy them and torture them and just play pranks on them. And that's translated over into my adult life as well, which I guess is maybe not as mature as it should be, but I still have fun doing it. So yeah, it's just fun.
Yeah. Yeah, a while ago, a couple years ago, I had a friend who I'd always talk about movies with. Mm-hmm. And so he knew, well, I mean, one, even though Alexa and Katie is in the movie, I'd talk about it all the time. So he knew I loved that and that there were, and then he found out a couple movies that I liked that he was like, I had no idea you'd like these. Like, I'm calling this side of you mischievous, Maya.
That's you. There's certain stuff that people will just be like, I didn't know you liked that. And you're like, yeah, I do. Yeah. And they're like, interesting. Okay. All right. That's a new side of you. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I was like, there's more to me than you know. So
exactly.
Yeah. So my last question for you is, who do you consider to be a real life superhero and why?
A real life superhero. My mom. My mom is a real life superhero. I don't know how she does it. She's absolutely, and that goes for all moms. All moms, they work tirelessly so hard, and they go through so much, and they love their children regardless. And that to me is so amazing and inspiring. My mom always seems to be there for me. Like, even when I'm like, I feel ashamed about something or something isn't very, I don't feel very good about a certain feeling or anything, my mother is always there to encourage as well as nurture. And that is something I've always been thankful for. And I will continue to be thankful for, because she never stops being a mom either. It's not like it ends after I turned 18 or turned 21. She will always be my mom. Like, it's like, she's going to be like that person on my speed dial that I'm going to be like, ooh, I don't know, let me call my mom. Like, it's just going to be like one of those things.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. My mom and my sister, they're they're my superheroes. Like, they're my best friends. There's nobody I'd rather spend time with than them. So
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's so sweet. I love that. Again, moms are just, shout out to all the moms out there.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you so
Micah's
much.
like, yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
100%.
Go ahead, Micah.
Yeah. Thank you so much for calling, and I still can't really believe I'm talking to you. So.
Oh, that's so sweet. I can't believe I'm talking to you. I'm so glad that you reached out because, you know, this is so sweet. And I'm glad we got to talk and just, have a wonderful conversation. You are a great conversationalist. I hope you know.
Oh, thank you.
It's the truth.
Thank you.